especially if we look at the pandemic, even today in 2021, in the middle of a pandemic where you're supposed to leave all the politics aside, all your ideological inclinations aside, we see a set of very, very well informed journalists, very unfortunately, who were trying to demonize the RSS and question what they were actually doing. But the RSS has been on the forefront, whether it is any flood or a drought or any other calamity, they've been at the forefront. So, could you summarize what the Sangh has done during the pandemic?
See, actually speaking, RSS has not just been active in disaster, it has been active in national emergencies. For example, right from Kashmir, first Kashmir war, when Pakistani Kabailis and army came, it was RSS volunteers who staked their lives to save the state. First working with Dogra forces, then working with Indian Army, providing logistics support, helping them make roads, airstrips, and bridges, and many lost lives. Hundreds of them lost lives. There is books on that. Of course, people say your books are not worth reading, so I won't get into that. But these are the real stories, real people. So starting from that, 62 war, 65 war, 71 war, every time. In fact, during 62, it was RSS people who stuck ground in Tejpur, where Pandit Nehru also said, my heart goes out to the Assamese people. So from there on, we have been there all the time. And talking of COVID, the COVID work started even before officially the COVID services were supposed to begin as Seva. There was no official announcement from RSS, no central directive how to do it, but Swayamsevak themselves, like all other good citizens, started the work locally in their own ground. Slowly the structure built up. So first thing is they didn't wait for the central directive. They started work. They started with local helps, local organizations, and slowly, because it was very difficult even to communicate, to reach out, and apart from internet, you could really physically reach out to each other,
Right.
and everybody was into that lockdown. And then slowly, as the structure built up over a month, then slowly the All India's kind of model came up. But in every area, right from providing food to the daily wages in all the localities all over India, providing dry ration, even the migrants who were rushing out of Delhi and Mumbai, even they were provided food in every possible way. So countering every kind of possible fear of infection. And as you know, when the COVID started, the fear was real and it was totally imaginable. People had no clue what will happen. So when you heard somebody having COVID in an area, suddenly the entire building would get alarmed that somebody's raiding you. So in this situation, so running from running kitchens, providing water, providing food, rations, etc. So more than 5 million, I can't remember figure offhand, nearly 5 million RSS people were on the field, working on the field and providing help. Number of people who took advantage in the crores. There are blood donation camps. COVID wards were set up, hospitals were set up, spruced up. You have heard a story in Karnataka where in Bellary, one abandoned hospital was completely renovated in shortest possible time. It was made functional for COVID. So right then, Vanvasi Kalyanashan was working in every district of Bharat, providing relief to tribal brothers and sisters. So every organization got totally involved. Educational institutions are freed up for COVID centers. Hundreds of Vidya Bharati schools were given to government for setting up isolation centers, COVID centers, and rations were sent across India from wherever possible. So it was outstanding effort. There is in fact recently a film and book has been released, which is 100 Days of Service. That is the name of the documentary. And there is also a book of the same name, which was released some days back. I would request people to hunt for it on the YouTube and definitely will find it, which is a summary of the work done. And even people doing testing, wearing PPE kits, going to slum areas. Dharavi is one of the prime areas, which was big epicenter of COVID, where RSS people, I took that interview on my YouTube, which I had launched at that time. It's still on. Of course, I launched about 2 months back. So I had invited those people from across India who themselves lived in horrible, oppressive conditions with lack of resources, lack of basic facilities. They gave their all to serve the people. So there was two such people I brought from Dharavi who actually worked during that time wearing PPE suits and doing the testing. There were similar groups in all over. They started in Pune, it was done in Mumbai, and slowly in many places. So containing Dharavi was one of the key, I could say, key point of RSS work in Mumbai, similarly in Pune. So this is the kind of work done where nobody ventured, they went. They and girls, they also did service of cremation, because there was no relative. Sometimes the relatives feared what will happen to them. So these girls and boys, men and women, they did this work in the worst conditions in the cremation grounds. So that is also something that worthy of note. So right from hospitals to cremation grounds, right from offering water to offering rations and food, everything possible was done. And definitely it's worth having a look at those documents, those films. And young people had to face wrath of their parents. Why are you going out working in the field? But they refused, they didn't buckle down, because everybody was worried about their own people. So I talked to a young man who came from a Chal area. I said, aren't you afraid what will happen to your family since you're coming out and going to distribute food? He said, I know, but then I had to work because Sangha asked me to work. So that is a kind of dedication which must be appreciated and applauded.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.